Good day, everyone. My name is Ryan Russell Bonayog from AV Philosophy Pre-Divinity. Um, my book is The Necessity of God's Existence from Daniel Bone Watcher. My first main point is God has a purpose necessarily in a strongest sense. God exists in every possible world, in an actual world. This article claims that God has a purpose and a cause of everything, including of his obligation is to be creator and everything relying himself. Only have a plan, especially in our living. Creating something could benefit for us human being living in this world. God has the biggest possibility for his presence and existence. We would notice in our previous life, we were inclined in what we feel in different scenarios in life. There are actual evidences for that, especially when we always seeking for my explanations and stimulus. My second main point is God is a source of freedom. The freedom of God has been necessarily that everything could be distinguished for that through the things. The work of God has been strongest, and there are always times that we occasionally perceive that. The times when we believe that exists, knowing that God truly has an authority to control everything, both environment and life of the human beings. And my main point three is God is always sustaining existence in various times. God exists because his nature says so, with an argument for his nature. This article claims that God's essence is part of his nature, sustains to everything in every aspect in life. My objection one is God does an assumption in being to possess. Shows that God is always both a potential and actual being, telling also about that has the reality, essential and characterized as being to control over the living. It implies also that God possesses in its reality to the events and occasion which are under control by God. My second objection is God has a vision of everything and freedom. This argued that through this comprehensive view, God's love which space and time becomes even more clearly includes between his definition of God an argument for his necessary existence and arguments for the necessity of his essence. My objection three is God is existent necessarily. It includes between the definition of God an argument for his necessary existence, argument for the necessity of his essence. Spinoza provides a prior arguments for God's existence that rely crucially on his essence. My answer to objection one is God has moved. God is constantly moving to us in his essence. God has moved and made his presence known to us in the circumstances of our everyday lives. God has always provided us approximately, even though we cannot always glimpse it with our real eyes, so that we occasionally feel as that we really is there. My answer to objection 2 is God has a perfect plan for us. The nature of God could control and power, also the power to predict on what possible events and happiness. Eventually, we were desires in life, which is sometimes expected it will be happen immediately. And my answer to objection 3 is God was necessary of his presence. And speaking of his essence, everything has been necessary. Through his presence, we can distinguish the definition of God's necessity for his existence. Then my insight one is God is constantly moving and controlling all various types of being here in this world. He continues to sustain different and that is obligatory as a creator and never ceasing to its existence. And my insight too is God has owned the freedom, which is to control everything according to his will. God never allowing someone to create evil things, but he favorably creates things that are beneficiary. Then my insight 3 is the essence of God cannot be distinguished to its natural and physical being. However, he continually given his essence through the things that in our own idea and belief, that things will generally be working and originally from God. And my conclusion is God inherently works in his essence. God has a purpose and possibly exists in our daily lives in different ways, and necessarily the power that he could provide for us has become beneficial and demonstrated to everyone. That's all. Thank you.